JHK here for Sportskeeda, and right now I'm joined by UFC middleweight contender Jack Hermansson. Jack, you are sitting in Houston a little early. Why are you there so early?
Well, it started with that I went to Atlantic City, where I was coaching a friend of mine fighting in the PFL. So I was there for 17 days in their bubble, and then I went to Houston, instead of going home in between. So just straight to Houston and climatize here as well. So yeah, been in the States for some time now, and all the jet lag and everything is gone. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, definitely. And 17-day bubble. How was that bubble in the
Oh,
PFL?
it was they did everything great and so on, but to be in a small place for 17 days, you kind of drives you insane, right? So it's like a small visited prison.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it all worked out for your team, right? He went in there,
Yeah,
Martin. He went in there, second round submission, arm triangle, beautiful. He gets to move on. He
correct.
gets the points,
Yeah,
6 points. It couldn't have worked out any better, right?
exactly. I'm super happy about that. So he's in Vegas now, waiting for his next round, and
Mhm.
hopefully everything will go good as well. So yeah, it's exciting.
Definitely, definitely. Now you're in Houston. We still got some time left. Where are you finishing your training camp there?
Yeah, we are at the Gracie Bajas gym here, and
Mhm.
they let us use this, so we're super happy about that. So we can do our final preparation there.
All right. Well, let's get back to, the fight with Marvin Vittori. You suffered a few injuries in that fight. The main one was the broken orbital in the first round. I saw that you were seeing double the whole fight. Can you explain the frustration, mid-fight, so the fans
Uh,
can understand what you went through of seeing double of a
yeah.
guy try to kill you, basically?
I'm glad you asked me that, because it seems like when I say that, because broken orbital bone is pretty common injury, and you say that, and people are just like, they ask me, what can you take from that fight and so on. What can I take from that fight? I couldn't see for the whole fight, It's watching the fights, it seems like a normal fight, but what's going on in my head is a totally different story, So basically, after I was punched down, I thought just that I was rocked, and soon my vision will clear. And I'm just like, why isn't my vision clearing up? Why can't I see? So if you study the fight when I'm on the ground there, I'm like looking around in the room and trying to understand what's up, I think that okay, it's something wrong with my head here, with my brain, because I didn't feel any pain around the eye area, so I didn't know it was a broken orbital bone that caused this. Um, so I went back to my corner, and I said to him, "Man, I can't see anything. It's like everything is double, and you just have to, control me, and I need to get the takedown and and get done with this, And right there and then, it felt like, I was up for an impossible task. I never would have thought that I could have gone four more rounds with that injury, because yeah, you're basically not seeing your opponent correctly, and it's hard enough as it is when you see clearly to move in and out and dodge punches and do everything you're supposed to. So I was just on autopilot in there from that moment.
Wow, man. From what you explained right now, because when I was watching the fight, I don't think anybody had an idea that you broke your orbital because the commentators didn't say anything. Nobody said anything.
Um,
And and you just went through four more rounds. That's I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but I don't think like there's 5% of the world that could do that, right? Which is you guys, the
yeah.
fighters, right? So I guess you won't know unless you go through the same experience.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it was definitely something, and the thing I've never heard about it even before. I know that people break their bones and they get swollen, and the swelling blocks the vision, but it was nothing like that. It was because of my eye was sinking in a little bit in the eye socket, and that affects the vision. And you know. I basically just got clear from that. So that injury was like I couldn't see for months after that. Was still some blurry vision in parts of my vision field. So yeah, definitely not a good experience, and unfortunately, it affected the fight. But it's also a part of the game, you know. And that first punch that Marvin landed was, of course, um, it was a result of that. So if I wasn't hit, then it wouldn't have happened. But you know, it's still a little bit sour because you know, sometimes you can get hit 100 times without something like that is happening. Now it was like the first punch. So
Yeah, yeah. That is that's and you also said that you thought something was wrong with your brain. That's a scary thing right there.
yeah, definitely. Because I had no idea that it was my eye. I just couldn't understand. You know, imagine you just like twist the vision, like severely twist everything you see, and it just stays like this. And I'm like trying to clear my you know, my head, and trying to focus. I'm just like, why isn't things clearing up? You know, and uh, definitely didn't think it was something wrong with my eye or anything, because there were no pain there at all. So yeah, I thought that it was because of the punch that rocked me, and there was something in the vision part of the brain. So yeah, it was definitely a little bit scary, but it was it was frustrating the most. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Now you go back, you know, you go into recovery. How did you get everything patched up? Did you go through surgery, or what did they do for you, the doctors?
The thing is that they couldn't do anything, because they said like my what they do is that if your eyes can't move properly, then they go in and they kind of smooth it out under there, so your eyes can move properly. But I had very good movement in my eyes, but still was seeing blurry, probably because of my eye sunk in a couple of millimeters, and that's nothing that they can't adjust that manually. So yeah, they're just like, yeah, we'll just hope that it will get better, but there's nothing we can do. So that was basically the message. So yeah,
Well,
and then
you look fine, you know. I mean, you got cleared by the doctors, so you're good to go.
yeah,
And when did you actually get back into like full contact training?
it took a while. I trained a lot without sparring and so on in the
Mm.
beginning. So let's see. The thing is that the time flies. So we're in May now, and this was in December. Uh, I think that beginning of April,
Okay,
maybe.
okay.
Yeah.
So what was the training like without the contact? Like, did you get to work on some aspects of your game? You know, because you know it opens up some, you know, some time for you to just focus on something you maybe neglected in the past.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, we worked on all kind of different technique, and you know, you can do everything else with pads and so on. And I've been focusing a lot on my strength training as well. Got a bit stronger, and things like that. So there's so many things you can do. You know, sparring is such a small part of our game. So definitely was a good time to develop in other areas.
Yeah, and now you got this fight coming up, UFC 262, Edmen Shahbazyan. Was there any hesitation on your side to take this fight, especially you sitting at number 7 in the rankings?
No, definitely not. It was like I felt that okay, I'm starting to get better now with my vision, and I think that I want to get back out there as soon as I can. So I asked UFC, you know, do you have a fight for me? And they're just like, yeah, basically everybody in the top 10 is booked up right now, and this was in April, I think. And I was just like, all right, who do you got then? And they said, we have Shabazzian is the highest ranked guy that's available right now. And I said, yeah, let's go, let's do it.
What about Costa? You know, Costa wasn't scheduled to fight anybody. I figured that they might have gave you him, you know what I mean?
I think he was at that
Injured?
time. What was that? there was something there as
Okay.
well, but at the same time, coming off a loss and he's ranked number two,
Mhm.
yeah. So, but yeah, that fight didn't happen.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, well, it's gonna happen in the future, so I'm not worried about it
Yeah,
too much.
I would love to get that fight
Mhm.
after I win this one.
Yeah,
So.
for sure, for sure. Well, your opponent Shahbazyan, he lost his first professional fight in his last fight against Brunson. Do you think it's harder to come back from your first loss under the lights of the UFC?
Yeah, it differs in person from person to person, and the thing is that his first loss was in the UFC. He didn't lose before, so it's really hard to know how people deal with things like that. But usually, I think that people grows from a loss. Because it's not a pleasant feeling. It sucks, and you want to get better because you don't want it to happen again. So I believe I'm gonna be facing a better fighter than he was in his last fight. And he's also very young, so he has uh, probably a lot more to work on in his career, and probably he will grow even more.
When you took your first loss, what I mean, how did you handle that, and how did you grow from that?
Yeah, my first one was in Bellator back in the days, and it it really sucked, and it felt a lot like a tactical thing and a focus thing, and and my routines weren't too good back then, and yeah, I didn't have the possibility to do it full time. There was so many things, um, but yeah, I remember it sucked, and I was super motivated for my next one, and then I lost that one too. So I lost two in a row there, actually, and but after that, I came back with an 8 fight win streak. So
What changed? Because that's a big shift right there.
yeah, yeah, I think just like I got better. I got better,
Mhm.
and yeah, I was young and didn't think about things in the same way, as I do now. More thought through with my whole process of training and everything. So yeah, I think that was it.
All right. Now, the Shabazian matchup, you signed the contract, so you feel good about it. What do you think about the matchup when you stack it up skill for skill?
He's a good stand-up fighter. I'm a good grappler, and he probably has some grappling skills. I have some stand-up skills, but I think that's our main areas of expertise, and who can have the fight where they want it. I think that's what it's about. Who can create opportunities for themselves. So I think it's a good matchup for me, especially seeing that Shabazyan's first loss coming off a guy like Brunson who takes people down and so on.
Have you been impressed by his striking? Because that's something that everybody talks about. But, when you stack it up, it seemed like Brunson did really well in the stand up
Yeah,
against him.
yeah, he's good, but it's clean. It looks good. It looks pretty. Brunson looks like shit, but he's effective. Uh, uh, I'm just kidding, but it's not pretty when Brunson strikes, right? His head comes up like more than when he's not striking. So he just shows his chin and then he rushes in. But at the same time, he has like so many knockouts and he punches so hard and he really goes for it when he punches. So it doesn't have to look pretty to be effective. And so I don't think too much about it. I think it's even easier sometimes to read a clean technical fighter because you know what you get, right? With a guy like Bronson, you don't know what you get, and he just rushes in against you. Edmen doesn't do that. He's calculated with his things, and he can work both for you and against you.
Now, with yourself, back in Norway, how has the training environment been over there?
Yeah, it's full lockdown, so it's really hard. We've been a couple of guys training together and keeping it, yeah, just on the low with a few guys and trying to to do it as smooth as possible. But it's our gym is closed, so we have like yeah our own training facilities, and it's been tricky, but you know, if you want something, you can do a lot with just a few people. You don't need a big group of people to prepare. So I feel well prepared, even during those circumstances.
Oh, no doubt, no doubt. I'm pretty sure it's like you go back to the Rocky style, you know?
Yeah, it's, as long as I have one training partner, you know, I'm
Mhm.
gonna be able to make my work.
Now, what's the work gonna look like? How do you envision this fight? How do you envision taking out Shahbazyan?
High pace fight, pushing, making things happen all the time. You know, uh, yeah, it's gonna be a great fight. And of course, if I get him down, I think I have a big advantage. No, I don't think it's just like Jacare is the only person that has survived being on the ground with me. You know, if I take the fight to the ground, it's a very high likelihood that it's gonna be finished. So yeah.
Jacare. When you say Jacare is the only one that survived, Jacare is like one of the highest level ground specialists ever in that division. So, yeah, that's saying a lot right there. Now, let's talk about the middleweight division. You know, there's been a lot of movement, but the first thing I want to talk about is UFC 261. There was a big middleweight fight between Chris Weidman and Uriah Hall. Did you watch
Yeah.
that fight live?
Yeah, I watched it, yeah, and yeah, I feel with Chris for that one. You know, he looked so motivated. He looked so well trained. You know. Oh shit! Sorry, man. I need to just get the charger in here. Yeah, he looked amazing in that fight, and or coming into that fight. So I really thought that okay, he's more motivated than ever. We're gonna see Chris Weidman. That's his old, you know, the old Chris Weidman, because you could see in some of his fights he didn't look too motivated. He looked a little bit chubby in some of his fights, but now he was ripped and ready to go. So you know, uh, when the first blow gets, you know, I can. It was even worse than mine, right? Of course, because he's basically lost his leg. But the first blow of the fight, um, yeah, felt for him there. It was terrible to see, and I really felt like you know he was going to be one of the guys to reckon with in the division again.
Yeah, me too. And now it's just, where do you think that puts Hall? You know, you win a fight, you didn't even throw one strike. That's the first time in UFC history.
Yeah, you know, Uriah Hall has been in the game for a long time, and he's a great fighter, and I think that uh, it doesn't matter too much, you know, the way he won. He's still up there, and I think the UFC is looking to give him some good fights.
All right,
Sorry about
now
this.
the next fight for the title is Marvin Vettori Adesanya, the rematch. Do you think that's the logical fight to make for the title?
Um, yeah, you know, I know that Adesanya is not too keen about the rematches, but um, yeah, who else? You know, when Whitaker didn't want the fight or didn't want to take it right now,
Mm.
so what are you gonna do? So it's frustrating to see, you know, when you want it to be you,
Yeah, exactly.
but it motivates me. So yeah.
Yeah, look at it
It's gonna be
positive.
interesting. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how that fight goes. You know.
How do you think it's gonna go? How do you think Marvin Vettori is gonna fare against Adesanya again?
I think he's gonna struggle in the stand up, but he's extremely durable, so it's really hard to get him out of there. And he has very good conditioning. You know, you don't think about it because he's pretty muscular, so you think that he would fade or anything like that. But he's really good conditioning, so he's gonna be able to push the fight. And I think that he can make Adesanya tired. And I think that yeah, Vittori is gonna be able to win round either by taking him down or in the later round when Adesanya gets more tired. But in between there, I think that you know Adesanya is a little bit too crafty for him with his striking.
Your last fight originally it was supposed to be versus Darren Till it seems like it might work out perfectly time-wise. You know, you fight this one, you take care of business. Maybe it lines you up with the rematch. I don't know. Are you still interested in that fight?
Yeah, there is always a guy that people likes to see, and he has a fun style. He's a fun
Mhm.
dude, and you know, yeah, that fight could probably happen.
Mhm.
If he can stay injury free and get in there, I don't know how long it was before his last fight. Now it was a while ago,
Yeah.
so but yeah, if we can make it happen, it could be a good fight. Yeah,
Yeah, man. I'm excited for this fight coming up, you know, May 15th, UFC 262. If you take care of business, man, there's so many options still out there for you, and it just gets you
yeah,
closer to the title, which is your main goal, man. Thank you so much, Jack, for the
exactly.
time, and I'm going to be watching closely to this matchup. It's going to be a fun one.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you for having me again, and I will speak to you after the fight.